Good morning, friends. Hopefully you'll be able to hear this morning. I'm sitting here in the chair that makes me appear like I have some wings. I decided to make this video early this morning because in the world healing field, which I was asked to set up in the end of January 2020 with the construct that the world was going to be going through some tumultuous times, and that it would be helpful if I could set up a healing field and then help to ground the disturbance that was going to arise in that field over the next 5 years. And so this morning we're going to, it's early in the morning here where I am, 3:30, something like that. And there's a lot of energy coming out currently. And I'm going to talk about the big three a little bit. Typically, they're called fear, grief, and anger. And I think it's really useful to talk about these emotions as stuck energy. And I needed to come down into the lower part of the house so that I could be quiet enough to let others sleep. So what's going to be happening here is that once again, Arlen's going to guide from inside the body and in the healing field today. The energy that's being grounded is a lot of fear. And so fear, okay, so we're doing this switch right now where Arlen's going to work with me, working with you. So if you are feeling these particular energetics that I describe, then Arlen's going to help me release and to integrate these energies. And while I'm doing that, you may find that easier for you to do as well, that these energies may begin releasing for you. So the area that I'm drawn to is the lower abdomen, and the experience I'm having is that the abdomen is just vibrating. And then there's this area of contraction right over the shoulders. Now, Arlen's already been working with me over the last few days to recognize that I have had the belief that in order to heal, you had to suffer. Like, and these, my guides have been working with me for literally the past 27 plus years on letting go of beliefs about myself that limit what I can do in the world. So, limiting beliefs are beliefs that we hold that say we're not good enough, we're not strong enough, we're not brave enough, we're not smart enough, we can't do this because, and there can be these kind of voices in our head that, especially some of us, that say things like, it's never going to work out, you know, everything's crumbling, which may be true, but it may be the process that needs to happen for us to release this perception that things aren't working. And the perception maybe that things aren't working the way we want them to work. And maybe the way we want them to work are not ways that are working for anyone else. And that may be true that there are just some people who are attempting to control the world so it works out for them. And maybe only them. That may be true. That may be a limiting belief. So as we work with coming out of these limiting beliefs, these things that we're holding, these boxes or triangles that we're keeping ourselves in, we're going to need to be a safe person for ourselves, where we're willing to look at ourselves and look at what we're doing and realize we're doing this and we can do something different. So with that, I'm going to let Arlen come in and work with me, working with these energies. Yeah, you know, I'm aware that I have this belief that I need to appear a certain way so that people will have the perception of me that I want them to have, rather than the perception of me that I'm just like them. Somehow the belief is that I need to be able to project this perception to people about me that I then would accept them seeing me as they do. Okay. that was good. He's getting good, isn't he? I mean, it's kind of exciting for us. You know, there may be people that perceive that those of us who are working with this situation on Earth from a, quote, higher level, don't feel any feelings of frustration. And it's just not true. There, I'm sure there, I'm sure there are, the kind of totally Zen guides. Like you call in an angel, and the angel's just like, everything is beautiful in its own way. It's, yeah. And on some levels, that is a state that you can go into, where everything is beautiful in its own way. And that's a state that you can go into. And there are many different states that you can explore. And we'll be doing that. And we'll be doing that with Stephen, who is going to allow certain vibrations to be present that he's very uncomfortable with. So it's brave of him to do this. And he has support. We're here to support him. But no matter how much support you may feel, when you're in these states with these energies coming to the surface, it can be terribly uncomfortable. You can make up all sorts of things in your mind about how nothing's going to go right. And each of you have done that, so each of you know that experience. So we're going to give you a different experience today. We're offering it to you, you can take it. And the experience is, we're just going to start off, and we're going to go to this. I'm going to have you just take your hands and just gently rub over the back of your heads. So you're going from a little higher place on the back of your head, and then you're bringing your hands to a place in your neck. And just notice what just happened. Yeah. So what we're going to do today, these things just kind of appear because you, on your phone or on your tablet or on your computer, on your television, you show up and you see Stephen or you see me, and you notice differences in how we appear. Because Stephen is on the ground. He's in the body. And I help him from another level to work with the things that he's working with in the world that are affecting the world. And each of us affects the world by either allowing that flow of energy to move through us and allowing ourselves to go into a place of peace. So just think of these words, a place of peace. And then now take your hands back, put them behind your head, and just hold the back of your head gently. And then let your hands just slide down, and notice what happens as your hands slide down the back of your head. Stephen's noticing how it pushes his ears out. It's interesting to just see what comes up in the mind. Like, oh, it pushes my ears out. And he could say, oh, it makes me look Yoda. Maybe people will think that I'm an enlightened master. Like, why? Why does one possibly want people to think that they're an enlightened master? Why not have people think that you're just one of the bozos on the bus, and they just kind of want to leave you alone? What would they want to do if they thought you were an enlightened master? There's some images that might come up for you, whatever, Enlightened masters haven't been treated all that well. Maybe by a few people, but okay. Clear some of that enlightened master energy. I'm in a body, so I'm currently just appearing to you in a particular way. And then, because I'm appearing to you, how you see me, seeing you, seeing me. Again, hands behind your head, and just bringing your hands down over the back of your head. And you'll come down to a spot kind of directly across in your shoulders. You'll have a clavicle, and then right behind the clavicle, you'll have an area of tension. And that area of tension is related to the nerve supply to the heart. And you put your hands there. And what you may notice is a deep sadness. And if you do, that's wonderful, because that is what's there. There's other things there as well. But one of the things there is a deep sadness. Stephen woke up with this morning at 3 o'clock in the morning. Just woke up with this deep sadness. And a feeling of hopelessness. And it took him a while of just really being in that belief that you need to suffer to heal. It's in some religions that their teacher had to suffer, and then some religions really made up these images of that suffering. So you might have seen these things that were going on that just you looked at it and you said, oh, this person must have really been suffering. And that person was, one of them may have been suffering to heal the world. And Stephen's like, well, that's what I'm doing. Okay, good. It is what he's doing. He is suffering to heal the world. And maybe that perception of his came to him very young when he saw these images on the wall of this, beautiful looking face who was wearing a crown of thorns. That was just one of these teachers. But it was made to look like their life was all about suffering. So one may have gotten the image that if they wanted to heal the world, it was going to be about suffering. So if you've kind of made it this far, you've really made it into the realm of suffering. Okay, so if you were attuned to that, you may notice that suffering caused a lot of pain. And I'm just going to say, the pain isn't necessary for healing. All that's required for healing is change. So all that's required for healing is letting go. Letting go of the beliefs you carry around with you about how the world is and the emotions that you hold to prove yourself right. Even if what you're proving is that healing's really hard, the world's going down, maybe there's nothing that can be done about it, and that you're just going to have to suffer and just watch the dream fall away. Pretty heavy stuff. And some people, not to mention any names, are just really good at suffering because they've believed that's what they had to do to heal themselves and to assist others to heal. It's just not true. Suffering is not the key to healing. Matter of fact, the more suffering you do, the more better you get at suffering. In order to suffer, you have to hold on. In order to heal, you have to let go. And, I can't, well, this is good for you to know, I can't make you let go. It's not in our contract. You are independent and dependent. And you are a person that makes your choices to be engaged in community or engaged in isolation. These things are a choice. Okay, so something opened up. So just notice that. Just that little awakening, that little opening, like a light turning on. Just one little layer of opening. And then another. And so, doing this just to help you to know which of the energies you might be releasing right now this is a combo plate. So this is anger, grief, fear, and then another different than grief is sadness. And then those can just be released. What's making this good or more useful from my perspective is the fact that Stephen's doing this. So he is hearing my words. He's experiencing what the body's experiencing that he is holding on to. And then he's letting it go. So when he's doing that, he becomes aware of how deep this stuff goes. And if you follow it, if you kind of follow it down into the gut, and then you feel all that energy that you might be feeling in the gut, and it's uncomfortable. And if you feel this energy all the way down to the ankles and the feet, and you can feel it also in the hands and the wrists, it's this really stiff, stuck energy. And when it's stiff and stuck, it feels different than when it's moving. But we're just going to describe this as anger. And just kind of tune in. Okay, this is the vibration of anger. And then you can admit to yourself, this is a vibration that in the past I've really felt helped me feel safe. But I'm becoming aware that anger doesn't actually make you feel safe. It actually makes you feel better about being separate. Okay, so Stephen's doing a really good job. So I'm not doing this for him because I don't get to. If I could do this for him, I would. I wouldn't do it because he wouldn't learn this. And he's a very gung-ho person in night school. So when he comes to class at night, he's really into it. He's getting better at bringing it into his awake world. So now we've just got this anger just hovering. And here's where the belief can change. That anger makes us safe. Now we're tapping into many countries' belief that anger makes them safe. So this is a world healing. And Stephen's just released for himself the anger of the world. And what Stephen was thinking about while he was doing that was how long these videos take to upload to YouTube. But it worked. He released it. That is not even as easy as it can be to release anger. But that was much easier than he's done it before. And take your awareness down to your abdomen. And notice how it feels different. Notice how your legs are tingling. Notice how your lower legs are tingling, your ankles are tingling, your feet are tingling. And that is energy moving. And then you can feel the fear releasing. And then you notice your shoulders tingling. Stephen wants me to know how grateful he is that I'm helping him. And I understand. I've been very grateful in the past when Stephen's been helping me in a similar situation. So there is this realm, and the only separation between you and this realm is the vibrations that you're letting go. So one thing that separates you from the energies of this realm is fear. Just like petting a cat. Energy wants to move. When you let it move, energy becomes happy. All it wanted to do was move. And you can control its movement to some degree, but not happily. Cats only like to be in bags if they've chosen to go into the bag, but they don't like being put in a bag. And all of a sudden, energy begins to move through the throat. You go up, and there's no separation. None. So that soothing, healing, higher vibration energy can just start coming in. Maybe it gets to that spot. Maybe it feels like, oh, it's a little stuck. You can just have the thought, oh, I wonder what it would feel like if it wasn't stuck. Sometimes that energy will go down into an area and you'll feel the emotional energies of that area. So your consciousness will go down in and you'll feel sadness. Name that tune, really. That opens up that moves down, that moves out. Your feet may feel a little prickly when that energy goes through your feet. It's going down to through the grounding wire connected to your feet, through your open chakras at the bottom of your feet, that grounding wire that goes all the way down to the healing center of the earth. And things just begin to come out. Notice the differences. If there are differences, notice the differences. Notice the difference in your body right now. Notice if your body feels more alive, even if some of the energetics are not ones you like, and they're ones you attempt to suppress. You know, there's just so much the vibration of sadness in the world. And then when we feel that, and it triggers off our deeper sadness, then some of us can have a tendency to just sit in that sadness, and other of us just let that sadness go, let it go down our legs, down into our feet, down into the healing center of the earth. It's only the vibration of sadness when it's held. It's only the vibration of anger when it's held. As soon as you let it go, it's just energy. Okay, so Stephen just said thank you. And I would say to Stephen, you're welcome and thank you. Because when Stephen allows this to be easier for him, in many ways, he's allowing it to be easier for others. And he's becoming very aware of how wonderful it is. There's no point putting it out in the future, how wonderful it will be when people wake up to the awareness of how it is on a higher level in which they're beginning to move. They're beginning to experience this higher vibration. And if they're not resisting it, then whatever it was, whatever static was going on in their field, just begins to just dissipate. The static of fear. People begin to recognize it's just a vibration they're holding on to. When they let it go, things change. The static of anger. When you release it, things change. The static. The word status almost came out, and now it has, because I saw the static and the status. Status has to do with kind of your perception of your place in the world. So Stephen had the thought, would it be useful for him to disconnect from the matrix of suffering surrounding the planet? And so this is one thing you can do, is know that there are thought forms around the field that can cause a person to feel a particular way based on the thought form. The thought form may cause people to feel fear, may cause people to feel anger, may cause people to suffer. But it's a thought form. So years ago we taught Stephen how to state out loud that he disconnected from certain thought forms, and eventually all thought forms, eventually all beliefs and their attendant emotions. So he seems ready to do this, so we're going to do this. So Stephen is stating, I disconnect from the matrix of suffering surrounding the planet. And then these words, I disconnect from any thought forms that hold a lower vibration on the planet. There goes that feeling of nausea. There just goes layers and layers of what it takes to hold a world in place in a way that you complain about. So with our hands over this neurological area related to the heart, we let ourselves sink down into our heart and feel how we feel. And in the central resonance of the energy of the heart, we feel love. And if we are feeling love, we are feeling self-love, the love of the self, and that love of the self spreads out through that space that's been created by disconnecting from those matrices or thought forms. You disconnect from the matrix of thought, of belief, of constructs, or creations, constructing these beliefs, even if others are helping us by their words, by what they're saying to us, you're just not doing that right. You're just not doing that right. You're just not doing that right. How do you know? How do you know what doing it right is? Some external construct about what's doing it right. And that may be a construct that gets us into a lot of trouble when we're attempting to do it right, not attempting to do it in a way that we feel right. So, going into your heart, noticing that it might feel better to be there. From the heart, you can state out loud that I connect to my deep self, which is you. I disconnect from the matrix of suffering. I disconnect from the matrix of I'm not good enough. I disconnect from the matrix of it's never going to work out. I disconnect from the matrix, I'm better than you. I know these are heavy energies that you're disconnecting from. Those of you who are actually doing this, you can feel proud of yourself. Matter of fact, I suggest that you do. Stephen is saying that's enough. And it may be. It may be that some time will be required to fully release and integrate this energy. But then again, how much time? And do you have the belief in suffering? And are you making your suffering, your release, take longer so you can suffer longer, so you can heal better? Or you could just let go of that construct. And just feel the suffering come to an end. And it could be said that you are healing the suffering of the world by letting go of suffering. What if everything will work out perfectly without you controlling it? Feels good, doesn't it? Just brushing it off, just like dust. Dust in your consciousness. Just brushing it off. Taking the blower to it. Shake it off, baby. Okay, what you're feeling now is love. So you're connecting, you're resonating to love. And you're feeling it pour through every cell of your body. And gently, 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 you're pulsing that into your world. And every student needs an assignment. That's a belief, that's a matrix. Your opportunity, if you wish to take it this day, is to stay in the resonant field of love. You might say, I choose to let go of all images that I have of suffering. I let go of all pain of suffering. I bring in the energetics that are my birthright. I let the vibration of love heal everything. That was a lot. And let that just keep going out. Going out, coming in. Going out, coming in. Going out, coming in. Let those energies move. We are letting go of the thought forms that keep us in a world that does not feel like it works. There is another world. And the more you come into this other world, the more it will appear to work. Especially as you come into this other world from the heart, from love. And love begins to, what? Move through every cell of your body, every part of your energetic field. All sorts of names for these different parts of these energy fields. The energy field of the body, the energy field of the emotional body, the mental body, the astral body, the etheric body, lots of bodies. One body, one consciousness, one love, shared with all, consistently, beautifully, totally. Stephen wants me to say awesome. Totally awesome. He is a child. A child that wants to play. A child that wants to feel that he's playing fair. A child that wants to feel that he loves, that he is love, and he is, as are you. I'm going to suggest to Stephen that he watch this again in a while and keep working with these energies, because there's a lot clearing today, and it's going to be a very fun day for anyone who lets go. It's been a pleasure to serve you and to serve Stephen, Saint Stephen, the first martyr for Christ. Yeah. And maybe if you were named after the first martyr for Christ, who may have been perceived to be a martyr, and the lineage of being a martyr is released. And the veil, if you choose, the perception, the construct, that you're a resonant form, being of love. Is enough. Who are you? I'm a being of love. Who are you? Oh, a being of love. Stephen says, and light. And light. And dark. Of wholeness. Of oneness. Of love. Just keep breathing. It is a powerful day. And sometimes when it's a powerful day, one needs to just get up with their body and meet that power with love. Stephen doesn't feel complete unless he says Nowmustgo, so Nowmustgo.